Welcome to our custom space where dreams take flight. Positive visions coming to.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel Custom Carving and Epoxy UK, and I hope you're all doing well. And I saw that Claire from Claire's Crafty Corner was doing a summer collaboration, and I couldn't resist. I had to get involved. I don't know if this is going to get done in time, but I'm hoping it does. And I've just really wiped this mold, although it shouldn't matter the way I'm doing it. It's just a standard A4 mold. And this is to show you that for me, resin can just be art. And it's a summer collaboration. So I thought, what am I going to do? And I thought for Sophie's room, what better than a teddy bear's picnic is the idea. Now, that is just the idea at this stage. So I've already poured these blooms. But wait a minute, you're probably saying they're not 3D blooms. And they're not. They're 2D blooms, but I think they're just as pretty. And the plan is, whether it works or not, I don't know, is the first layer I'm going to pour is going to be in 1:1 resin. So I've only poured 6 ounces because I want quite a thin coat, but I want it to be reasonably opaque. And I've got some of these amazing Create and Bloom pastes. So I'm going to try and create with the Forget-Me-Not and the Seashore, 2 different shades of blue in that sky is that part. Then for the grassy area here, and I want them to be like grass blades coming out, and I want these to be almost be miniature teddy bears. I've got this lace wing, which to me is a beautiful grass green, but we all know glitter's life. So I want to add some laser holographic glitter to that grass as well, and maybe some bigger stalks. And then I thought, what else have I got? So I've got some iridescent blue powder. I'm going to mix that in with the sky, hopefully to give us a bit more of a sparkle. And then I've also got some emerald green alcohol ink, which I'm going to play around with the grass just on this bit here so that we get a different effect. And then hopefully flicking those grasses through. That's what's in my head. Whether it works or not, I don't know. So I've mixed up 6 ounces of resin. It's come out the debubbler. And that's all I've done so far. So I'm going to move these out of the way because I don't need them for this part. I need to know roughly where they're going to go, which I think is there, there, and there. I think it looks perfect to me. And now it's just about getting that first layer down. And the plan is afterwards, once it's cured tomorrow, and I'm going to let it cure, hopefully if impatient Andy doesn't take over. And these were done with those tiny Turner pigments. Look at them. So cool. Then the plan is, I'm going to do this from back to front as well. I don't care what the back's going to look like. I'm going to do it so it's a frontward facing one. So that deep pour resin then is just going to completely encase it and make it a piece of art, which is what resin is. So let's get straight to it. And I'm going to do this in the mold because I don't really care. So I'm going to mix up 4 colours with this resin, but I'm only going to need less of certain ones and more of others. So I think the majority I'm going to need is going to be this Forget-Me-Not and this Seashore mixed together to give us 2 different blues. And do I use some alcohol ink in it as well? I might do. You know me. I can't just let things be. I have to have a play. And that's what makes it fun. A little bit for the white. I'm not going to need a lot of that. And some for the grass there. Now, in this mold, the risk is here. I haven't got a clue how the resin's going to pull or anything. And that is my biggest risk here. Now, I know when I've done these in the past in different molds, they haven't really shifted that much, which is what I'm hoping for here. Now, again, I'm not going to pour too much on here, but I do want a very, very thin base. And I don't know why, it just feels right. So again, I'm just going to put a very thin layer on here first. It may cause some more shifting in the resin. I don't know at this point. This is all a giant experiment. And again, make sure you watch all of the collab videos because there's some amazing artists in this community. And that's what keeps us all going. So again, look at how thin this layer is. I don't need it to be a thick layer. I just want a tiny bit in there. And it's so that I'm not wasting my resin. And this is where you can get creative as well. Look, I'm not even using a silicone tool, but I am making sure it's going all the way around. I am going to use my silicone tool, by the way, but I've already messed up this cup. So why not use it to just spread that very, very thin layer all the way around. And I don't even know why I'm doing this. It might cause a crackle. It might not. I don't know. That is the exciting thing, though, about resin. You never know until you try something. So I'm happy with that, I say. I am going to get my silicone tool. I'm just going to scrape my pot out because, you know me, I don't like to waste resin. And I poured 6 ounces. I think this mold takes 24 ounces altogether. And I'm not going to use that much in 1-to-1. As I say, this 6 ounces, I'm hoping it's going to be giving me enough to do this whole, I suppose, backdrop for these teddy bears. But again, just going into each and every corner, I do want that thin layer all the way around. And then we can get to the fun bit, the mixing of the colours, the pouring. And I'm not going to add those blooms just yet. I might do it when I wake up in the morning. It's about 10 o'clock in the evening in the UK at the minute when I'm doing this, but I really wanted to get involved with this project to show how much I love the community. So here we go. That's stage one. That's the simple bit. So let's mix up these blues. And these are all from Create and Bloom. Amazing, amazing pastes. I absolutely love them. And I'm hoping I'm going to do them some justice. In fact, let me just get a blue alcohol ink as well. I am going to do it. I'm going to mix a tiny bit of alcohol ink in just to give us hopefully another effect. Here we go. I've got standard Let's Resin blue. And I've also found the forest green as well, which I'm not sure if I like. But again, this is just the blue. So, and this is me, you know. This is having fun. This is not knowing what's going to happen. This is what resin is all about. It's just about having fun with your art, you know. So the first one is this Seashore from Create and Bloom. And again, if you've not checked her out, go to createandbloomcrafts.com. She's amazing. Very inspirational story as well, how she's taken her passion of resin and turned it into a business, you know, and she's good fun as well. So make sure you check out Lou from Create and Bloom. And here we go. I'm just mixing these colours. So this is that first one. That to me looks like a sky colour, you know. But again, I wanted this to be special, so I want some different tones in there. And that's why I'm mixing 2 different colours, and I'm still using very light blue ones. And I'm just going to see what happens, you know. And if you find this boring, then again, you can fast forward because this is only going to be stage 1. I think there's only going to be 3 stages, but we're on Sunday evening. And I need to get this finished really by Wednesday so that I can edit it on Thursday evening because I've got my live coming on Tuesday and have it all ready. So hopefully we'll get it done, but there's no guarantees. So that's that Seashore. Right, next colour I'm going to go with is the Forget-Me-Not, which is a slightly lighter blue. Not much in it, but there's a slight difference. Look at that. And I think that'll give us another element to this sky. As you can see, it's not quite as blue. Almost white, but we are going to have a white as well because I want to try and put a few cloud effects in. And most of this, do you know what? Even if it goes wrong, it's not going to matter because it's going to be covered by those gorgeous blooms and those 3 teddy bears. And what more could you ask for in a teddy bear's picnic? So this is, as you can see, it's quite light, this one. So again, just going to wipe my stick off. And there's my blues. Now, for the white, I've got some Supreme White from Apex Resin. I'm going to use that because I'm not going to need a lot. So this is the Supreme White. And again, just using my cocktail stick to stir it around. Whatever's left on my stick can create that white. And let me know, do you think this is going to work? Do you think I'm crazy? Who knows? And do me a favor, guys, like and subscribe to the channel. It is completely free and it really helps support us. If you want to support the channel more, memberships are also open and you're more than welcome to join, which gives you early access to all of my videos, as well as entry into a free prize draw every month to win a piece of my art. So, something a bit different. Right, and wait till you see this green. And you'll see what I mean. As soon as I saw it, I was like, that is grass. That is grass in a tub. I know it's called lacewing, but to me, this is green grass. Look at that. Beautiful. So again, exactly the same around my pot. And in we go. And look at how thin that is. It's not even fully covering it, but that's okay. I don't want it to. I just wanted to not waste the resin and to put some on there. I don't think we're going to get a crackle on the other side. If we do, we do. And I'm hoping the rest of it doesn't crackle. But again, if we do, it could be an interesting effect, you know? So, right, that is the colours. But I haven't added my glitters. And as we said, glitter is life. So I need to add those, or I'll probably get shouted at by some people in the community. So this is an iridescent blue powder. I'm going to add some of this, because it's whitish with blue hints, I think to the light blue, just one, and a little bit into the dark, you know? They're both blue. So this again, I'm hoping to A, not get it all over my mould, and B, I'm hoping it will sort of bring those colours together a little bit. I'm not putting it in the white though. I don't want it in the white. So again, just going to mix that in there so that they're mixed. And I've got a tiny workspace. If you don't know, it's your first time watching my channel, I've got literally a 3-foot set of drawers, and that's what I use as my workspace. But look at that, just mixing together. And you do want to make sure it's completely mixed in. Otherwise, you're going to get clumps, and nobody wants clumps in the resin. Look at that. I can just see that little bit of a shimmer. Beautiful. There's that one. This is the dark one, but again, look at that. Beautiful iridescent blue powder. Just mixing it all the way through so that it goes all the way through that resin. And hopefully it's going to be what creates a bit of an effect. Here we go. And we've got an old friend that's going to return for this video as well. Some of you may remember him from previous videos where I could not stop laughing, but it's going to come back and you're going to see what I mean in a minute. Let's just add some glitter first of all. So I'm going to use this holographic green laser glitter to add to the grass. And again, I don't want too much of this because I think that's the risk here. I could ruin everything if it just turns into glitter. I know some of you are going to disagree, but here we go. So there's that holographic green laser glitter. So I think 1, 2 scoops is all I'm going to need. I can't believe I'm doing this at 10 o'clock at night. It's gonna work. I'm telling myself it's gonna work. So here we go. So there's that holographic green laser glitter. Just mixing it in with this lace wing to give us a glittery green grass, hopefully. Look at that. Beautiful. So here we go. And whilst everyone's watching the video as well, I just want to say a massive shout out to the whole resin community. You guys are amazing. You're what keep creators like me and everybody else going. You guys that watch the videos, it means everything. Okay. So here we go. Right. This is the scary bit. I am going to drip some ink straight into the mold. Whatever will be, will be. Now, I only want this to maximum spread about halfway. Oh, I think I've lost the plot here, guys. I really do. And then I've got some emerald green, which I think would go with the grass at the bottom. Beautiful, actually. Oop, I don't want it to go too far. And this is just to give us, again, something a little bit different. I don't know if it's going to work. But I thought, you know what? Why not? Let's try it. And then I've got a couple of this forest green, which I don't know if I like. I don't think I've ever used it. I haven't. So I'm going to leave the forest green because I've not opened it. Simple as that. But now what I'm going to do is just use my stick and mix this blue around. No particular order, just mixing it around. And that already is creating a pretty cool effect. Just in that tiny bit of resin that's in there. And again, guys, this might work and it might not. But it's just giving me an idea at this point where I want the blues to go to and where I want the greens to go to as well. So I think that's roughly about where I want them. And I don't know if this is going to add any texture or not once I've mixed it. Keep on wiping my stick. So there's the blues. And now let's do the same for the greens. You know, just to give it a bit of a covering and to give me an idea of where I want them to go to, you know, and see what happens. So there's some blues, there's some greens. Pretty straightforward at this point. And I think that is as tall as I want my grass. So I'm going to leave that there. And I already think I've gone a little bit crazy. So apologies for that. So now I'm going to go get my old friend who's not been on a video for a while. And you'll see what I mean in just a second. We all get them when we start in resin. We wonder what they are. Hello, Mr. Fingerdom. So, gets me every time. So I'm going to get messy in this project. There we go. My Fingerdom is on. Hi guys, Fingerdom ready to go. So I'm just going to layer these blues, I think, first of all. Most of what I want is going to be this white. Oh, well, not white, sorry, this lighter blue, which is the Forget-Me-Not from Create and Bloom. Here we go. And I want this to cover the whole of the sky area. And I don't know if this is going to work or not. But you know what? I thought it'd be fun. I thought it'd be a good experiment for us all. And who doesn't love an experiment to see what we get? And as I say, I've only got 6 ounces of resin at this point. And I don't want any transparency in this. So there is my Forget-Me-Not. And I'm loving the way that that's intermixing already. Now I'm going to go in with the darker blue, which was the Seashore. Got to be careful how you say that. And again, I'm just loving the way that this is intermixing with those colours. And there's that little bit of iridescence coming through. But I want enough to make sure that I've got everywhere covered. Look at that, that Forget-Me-Not almost looks white now. But it's not, I promise you, it is a different shade of blue. So here we go. So that is those 2 cups. And I'm just hoping I've got enough of the green now. So, what am I doing? What am I doing, everyone? This is the green. The green is going to go in now, which is that lacewing and that green glitter. And I want this mainly at this bottom part. Beautiful colour though. And I hope you'll agree. It looks like grass to me. Couldn't get a grassier colour if you tried. Here we go. Happy with that. Right, here we go. Now, time for you to do your stuff. Da, 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 da. Fingerdom. Swirl. Swirl it round. And you know what? This is art. And I don't care. To me, this is art. This is fun. Whatever it will be, you know. And this is just going to give us a nice backdrop. Just mixing them together again. And I'm loving that. It's almost like a wave, though, now, rather than a sky. Woo. But it's all mixing together. We're getting some different shades coming through. You know, this is going to be a beautiful sky, I hope. We'll find out in the morning. If it doesn't turn out, I'll cry because I don't have time to do this again. I'm pretty happy with that. It's pretty cool. And I don't need it to look perfectly like a sky. I just need it to mix those colours a little bit so that they all intermix and it gives us some different interest points. That's really what I'm looking for in this background. Just a bit of interest, something to look at, because this to me is going to be a piece of art. So there we go. First colour with the Fingerdom. And I hope you'll agree, that looks pretty cool. It's almost like Van Gogh's Starry Night style. I could actually do that and put the little spirals in. But most of this, don't forget, is going to get covered by those beautiful blooms. So again, just doing the same. And I'm just making sure really that I've got everywhere covered. And I don't mind if they intermix a little bit, because that is where I'm going to play in a minute. And hopefully you'll see what I mean. So if you remember, I wanted 2 stalks. I wanted one over here. And I wanted a smaller one going up there. Now I don't want the sky to intermix too much. So I'm just going to mix that back in. And then we're going to go a little bit more through there. And I like that. I think once the blooms are on there, they're going to look pretty cool as stalks. Now, obviously, I don't just want to leave it there. So, I nearly forgot about my white. Who didn't remind me? Come on, guys. Get with the program. So, I've got some of this one. It's probably because I should be in bed right now, if I'm being honest. So, now just to create a bit of a cloud effect, pour a bit of this white in here. And I like that. And again, I don't know how this resin's going to move. That's my only concern at the minute. It could move in the way that I want, or it might not. So you see where I'm putting that white? It's just creating a little bit of a cloud-like texture. And I'm hoping that stays. Again, not too much, just mixing it around in there. Creating little cloud-like structures, hopefully across the sky. And this, as I say, this is art, but it's fun art. It's just pouring, you know, and seeing what the resin wants to do. I'm just hopeful that it does what I want. Here we go. And I don't want too many clouds because I want to be able to see some of that blue, but I do want some. So let's have another one here. And let me know what you think of this crazy project in comments. I don't think I've done anything quite this crazy yet. But it's the true artsy-fartsy side of resin, you know? And I think I'm happy there. I think you can go too far with your clouds. Bloom's going to be there. It's going to be a bloom there. So let's have a tiny little one coming out here as well. You also get to see inside my head a little bit with this video as to how my thought process works. There we go. So there's another one there. And I think that's enough. That's enough clouds. And I actually really like that wispiness that's happening. So I'm not going to do anything with those now. I'm just going to hope that they cure. But I'm not done with the grass just yet. So I'm going to get a bit of my white on a silicone tool, and I'm just going to flick it through. And hopefully we're going to get different shades coming through there. Who knows? But that, to me, is looking more like grass already. Again, just dipping it in, not a lot of the white, just on the end of my silicone tool. Let's do another layer here. And then let's do another one here. And as I say, guys, this might not work. I don't know, it's my first time trying it. But I thought it'd be a fun thing to do for this summer collab. Now I'm going to get a little bit finer and just get a few of these coming up. So it reminds me of strands of grass coming through there, you know, and hopefully it reminds you of the same thing. Because what is better than a teddy bear's picnic in a summer collaboration? And I'm pretty happy with the way that this is looking now, and I don't want to overdo it. But these, to me, makes it look a little bit more like blades of grass. And for me, this is true resin art, you know. It's just having fun, having a play, different colours, different pigments, seeing what happens, you know. Again, slightly different strands. And then I'm going to let this cure overnight and hope, in this case, that it doesn't all pull into the center. You know, normally I'd hope that it does for a bloom, and then these bits I'm just going to, again, just to try and create another effect, pull them in like so. And I think that is looking pretty at the minute. I've still got some white left, which is great. I'm going to use that to just fill up my drip mold at the side. But that's it. That should be stage 1 done. I'm happy with the way it looks. For me, it looks artistic. You might disagree, that's fine. But it looks a bit like a summer's day. And we're going to see what it actually looks like, hopefully. Tomorrow. If it cures like this, though, I'm going to be very happy as that as a backdrop. Now picture those blooms on there and those little teddy bears there. I think it's going to be gorgeous. I'm not going to torch it or anything because I don't want to risk it affecting it. But again, let me know what you think and make sure you're following all the videos. This is stage 1, so this should cure now by tomorrow. Then tomorrow's job is going to be to put those particular blooms where I want them. And get the teddy bears on there where I want them. And then it's whether I put a few more grass strands in front of the teddy bears to make it look more real. So I'll see you tomorrow. So here we go, guys. And it's the next morning. So it's probably about 6 hours later. So this hasn't fully cured yet. And you can see where it's slightly pulled in, but I'm liking that effect. To me, that still looks like a sky. We've lost some of the detail off the grass, which we could put back in, but I want this to be art, you know, and I quite like it the way it is. So I'm not going to touch this yet because it's still slightly tacky. But what I am going to do is position my flowers where I want them, because hopefully that will cause that it'll be tacky enough for it to just stick without me having to use glue or anything like that. And then we're going to have a see at roughly what it's going to look like. So again, just applying a little bit of pressure there, and that should be enough, hopefully, to just stick this together. We don't want this one. I still want to see that cloud. I still want to see those blades of grass. So I think there. So that's all I'm doing. I'm not going to be gluing them down, and hopefully just by doing that, that's going to stick there. I'm liking the way that this is looking, by the way. Hope you are too. And yes, it's proportionally, it's not perfect. There's probably other things I could have done, but do you know what? It's art and it's fun. And to me, this is looking like what I wanted, which is a teddy bear's picnic. One. Oh, don't. You only really get one shot when it's still slightly tacky. In fact, I'm going to use that one at the end. Now, I do want these to be reasonably level without touching as well. 2. 3. I'm happy with that. And again, you could do anything at this point. You could draw faces on them. You could put a lot more details in. You could put some birds in the sky. I'm not going to, because I like it just the way it is, the way the resin's created it. I love the fact that I can still see one cloud in there. And I say, just applying a tiny bit of pressure to all of them. They should stick to that now. And then tonight, when I get back from work, I should be able to just completely fill this with some deep pour resin. And then we'll see what we've got. So I hope you like it as much as I am at the minute. In fact, I'm going to give you a bit of a zoom in. I'm loving the way it's looking at the minute. And it's just a summer's day, a teddy bear's picnic. So we're going to fill it with deep pour this evening and then let it cure. So I'll see you guys soon. So we're back and I've just come back from work, and this, for me, has turned out perfect so far. So we've got that beautiful sky effect. going through the background. We've got these beautiful blooms and we've got these teddies what have stuck. Now it's almost cured, but not quite. It's still a little bit flexible at the minute, so I've got to be careful because I don't want to bend it. And then what I'm going to do is just fill this to the top with some deep pour resin. So I've got one of my big cups. Look at this bad boy. And obviously deep pour is a 2-to-1 ratio. I'm going to be using the Let's Resin deep pour just because I've got some in stock. And I'm going to mix up 450 ml first because I'm not sure how much I'm going to need. But I think 450 is a good place to start. So I'm going to go in with 150 of this. 2 parts to 1. So, and then 300 of the part A. And that should give me 450. It might not be enough. I don't know. We'll find out. So again, this is that part A. But the good thing is I can always mix up some more. It's not enough. Here we go. Now just get these annoying lids out. I should really just leave them out, but I like to leave them in just to, let's say, give it a bit of a seal and make sure that if anything were to happen and let's say I knock the bottle over, then it would still be okay. So now I'm going to go in with the, so that's 150. So I want this to take it all the way up to 450 now. Doesn't really matter which one goes in first. And this is a lot of resin, so I'm just hoping that this has the effect I want. I'm hoping it's cured enough now with that 1-to-1 to allow me to just fill it up with this deep pour, and then we should have a good solid art piece, hopefully. That's the plan anyway. And if you've never mixed up deep pour, don't be scared of it, you know. It's exactly the same as your 1-to-1. You know, you just mix it around thoroughly. So again, I'm going to use my stick rather than a machine. You can use your machine, of course you can. And you see those streaks, you want to get it streak free. Now, I don't like to mix it too fast. So just a few minutes until it goes streak free. Scrape your sides, scrape your bottom, the same as you always would. So I'm going to speed this up so you haven't got to sit here for 4 minutes watching me mix resin. Look at that, after a minute, it's already pretty clear, but I'm going to carry on. And the good thing is with deep pour, you can see a couple of little air bubbles in there. I don't tend to put my deep pour through a debubbler, and it's just because they naturally, because it takes 2 days to cure, which is the downside to deep pour, naturally what you'll find is those bubbles will just come to the surface, and then you can get them with a torch. There you go, couple of minutes, and we're pretty much streak free. Look at that, beautifully crystal clear. I'm just going to give it 30 more seconds, just because the last thing I want is unmixed resin. And you can see it's like water, this deep cure, or deep pour resin. Always get mixed up, because depending on which brand I use, it's either deep pour or deep cure. Here we go. But I'm pretty happy, that is now streak free. Just going to let this drip off. And I'm hoping that by adding these blooms and these teddies this morning, it will have been just enough for them to stick to it without me needing glue and worrying about them floating or anything like that. So I'm just going to put this on there for now. Get a baby wipe. Wipe the stick as always, and then it is ready for next time. It gets a lot harder, although you can peel them off. Gets a lot harder if you leave it to cure on there. So just going to wipe that. And that stick is ready to go for the next pour. So here we go. Now I'm just going to gently pour this around, you know, and see what happens. So are you ready? And I can see those bubbles in there, but they will dissipate. Trust me. I'm just going to go quite slow to start. I want it to go all the way around these edges first. And I may have mixed up too much. I don't think I have though. But as I say, I've always used 1-to-1 resin in this mould before. And hopefully this will just make it one beautiful solid piece. And I do want it to get all the way to the top. I want it to almost dome. So I'm hoping I've done enough. And it will self-level the same as normal resin does. And this will tell me how even my surface is as well. But I think I may have judged this about right with the 450mm. And that was just a guess, guys. So if I have managed to guess it right, I'm going to be very happy. Look at that. That is pretty much full to the brim and almost doming. Tiny bit short, actually. Oh, actually, is it? Let's have a look. That's just closing up. Perfect, I think. Now, I don't want any edges sticking out if I can help it. And I don't think there is. I think 450 was the magic number. So I'm going to leave this now. And don't get me wrong, with this technique, you could always do multiple layers if you want. I didn't want to because it was just a fun little project to do this teddy bear's picnic for my daughter and for that summer collaboration. So we are going to come back and demold this in about 2 days now. So we've got to wait 2 days. That is always the downside with deep pour resin. You've got to wait 48 to 72 hours. Normally I find it's 48, and hopefully within 24 hours, this will be set enough for me to actually just move. So I'm just going to go over the surface, make sure that any surface bubbles that are there now are gone. Again, not trying to get too close to my edges, but again, I don't want bubbles in there if I can avoid it. And now I'm just going to check the surface and make sure there's nothing on the surface. And I can see a tiny little bit of something there. It's gone. These are just bubbles. And then all I'm going to do is come back every probably 10 minutes or so and just check for any more bubbles that may have appeared. But this is about perfect. You can see everywhere is covered in that resin. There's nothing sticking out. We've got a beautifully flat surface. And these teddy bears look amazing, you know. I've never done them and covered them in resin, but these tiny turners seem to pop, again, differently when you do that. So I'm excited by that to see what they're going to turn out like. So just going to keep coming back once every few hours and torch it. So I'll see you guys at Demold in a couple of days. So it is finally time to demold this summer collaboration piece, and I'm really excited for this. It's been about 2 days. I think the deep cure resin should have cured, and we should have a finished piece now. So we're just going to demold it. Don't forget though, guys, make sure you watch everyone's video in this collaboration. There's some amazing artists run by Claire over at Claire's Crafty Corner. And if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. It's free, doesn't cost you anything, but it really helps the channel grow. And it inspires me to keep doing videos like this one. Here we go. So it's demolded nicely. Shall we look at the back first of this teddy bear's picnic? And I love that, you know, I love it as it is, you know, look at that. We've got like a cloudy sky effect and then that beautiful glittery grass. But that we don't want to see just the back. We want to see the front. So here we go. Oh my, I'm loving this. Teddy bear's picnic. What more could you ask for? We've got those beautiful 2D blooms that I did with those bubble centers. Crystal clear resin. Those teddy bears look absolutely amazing. In fact, let's see if I can get some daylight on this because I think it's going to sparkle even more. Hang on. Here we go. Just got back from work, but I couldn't wait any longer to demold this. 2 days is long enough to be waiting. And so I'm probably still going to leave it on a level surface just to make sure it's fully flat and cure. Because I think really with deep pour resin, I like to make sure it's sort of 72 hours really, just to be 100% certain. A little bit of deburring to do at the side where I've over poured, but I hope you'll agree. I think it's came out pretty much the way I pictured it, and I absolutely love it. So there you go. That is my summer collaboration piece, a teddy bear's picnic. I hope you like it. I'll get you some close-ups as well. As always, like and subscribe to the channel. And if you can, join memberships. But this is a big old piece. And I love the way that I use the sort of one-to-one resin as well as the deep cure resin. And I think it turned out great with those tiny turners and those blooms. So let me know what you think in comments. And I'll see you on the next one.
Welcome to our custom space where dreams take flight. Epoxy visions coming to life. It's a perfect sight. We pull together, blooming three resin family. Testing Micah's new creations. We set the free. Join our journey, like and subscribe. This is our place. Ocean seas to dragons and blooms we carve with grace. Welcome to custom carving, where dreams come true. Epoxy magic flowing just for me and you. Masterpieces rising, crafted with our hands.